Hi, David again, Jesse Palmer. And guys, let's get this thing started. The Broncos will kick it away first. And he'll return it and try to get behind his blockers. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. So Texas State's offense will have the first possession of the game. And here's the band they rally around, and he has earned that type of respect, David.
You dang right. You earn it by doing it, and he's done it at such a high level. Everyone believes in this young man, and Palmer, there's a reason why.
You're right, David. He's been in the big moments, and he's won the big games. This guy delivers when the game is on the line.
A negative play to open the drive. Let's see what they've got on 2nd and 14. Got it set up on the outside. On the move at the 30. And he was just a couple of steps away from taking that one even further after the catch.
One of the things I love about this offense is they're very versatile in their passing attack. They throw to receivers and tight ends, and the screen game is big as well. This guy is a weapon, and you're seeing that here early.
The offense showing motion from the tight end, trying to get a read on the D. Here's the handoff. Good pickup on the ground, and they'll mark it down at the 39.
Well, it's plays like that that'll help this offense stay in rhythm all game long. If you can have that kind of success on first down running the football, it just opens up your entire playbook moving forward.
Got 6 on first down. Now a lot of options on 2nd and 4. To the ground with the back. And they make the tackle, but he has plenty for the first down.
You got to have short area quickness. That running back there doing what it takes to make sure he got that first down.
And the Bobcats have this offense rolling. Let's go! They try to get it outside on the left. And he's going to be taken down, but there's a penalty flag on the field.
Hold it, open.
Holding penalties, the ultimate drive killer. We'll see if it costs this offense here.
Punch wide.
Line gets set, first down. To the air, it's McLeod. They're trying to get to it. Hit hard just as he released it on first down and just couldn't get it to the receiver.
Well, the offensive line has got to give him at least a little bit of time to survey the field. He had no chance that time, getting hit almost immediately after he got the ball.
After the missed connection, it's 2nd down.
Toast. Zig.
Quarterback will audible. Looking to throw on 2nd down. Fires to the right. Oh, so close to paying off the tip. Really had it in his hands. The ball's incomplete.
Well, the QB looked like he knew where he wanted to go with that football, but give the defense credit. They were able to swat that one away.
This is a 3rd and long. Someone not clear on the snap count. It'll be a false start, and they'll move it back.
False start.
The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty.
Normal Y, jet touch pass, AHD counter. Y off, AHD slip screen.
They've made 3rd down offense a key. It'll be tested on 3rd and long from the 28. Coming after it. That pass not close as he got twirled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down. The Bobcats send out the punt unit. This will be their first punt of the afternoon. Gets his first one of the day off. He was called on 4 times in last week's win. So Western Michigan's offense will take the field for the first time. As we take a look at our impact players for this game, David, what do you look for to make an impact from your leaders?
Your leaders not only have to lead the football team, but they got to step up and make plays on the field, keep everybody calm. These guys typically do a really good job.
Yeah, David, and they also generally set the tone for their respective football teams. Regardless of which side of the ball they play on, the teammates look towards them to step up in big games like this.
The run to the right. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3.
I love this linebacker because he's able to dissect what's happening in front of him, and he reacts downhill, uses his speed to get to the line of scrimmage and create the negative play.
Not what they had in mind to start this drive. Here comes 2nd and 13. And they try the middle of this stout defense, and they rise to the challenge.
Great job of containing by this defense. And in order to do that, the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively has got to be able to set the point and force the football back into traffic. That's exactly what happened.
On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. A beautifully placed ball to the outside and the toe drag for the big pickup.
As a play caller, you feel confident throwing this out to the perimeter against zone coverage when you have that kind of timing and chemistry. This quarterback and receiver do. You saw it on that one.
Hits the spin cycle. Not a whole lot of room there. 3 yards maybe. 2nd and 7.
Now that's what you try to do as a defense. Limit those damages when they run the football. Get them on the ground, short gains to set your defense for positive situations down the road.
To the air. It's Wolf. Gets it out quickly. And he'll be taken down, but he does have enough for the first down.
You got to give the O-line a lot of credit there because he gave the receiver time to work all the way across the field on the drag route against zone coverage. Quarterback gets it to him. He's able to turn it up and get a first down.
He makes the connection. And he's brought down, but the defender got a face full of stiff arm before he picked up that first down.
I'll tell you, for this defense, they're going to have to find a way to bracket this slot receiver because of how athletic he is. They're going to need to make sure they've got linebackers and DBs surrounding this guy at all times.
He's got him along the sidelines, and the foot is clearly down for the catch, and they'll move the chains.
I like this tight end. He does a really nice job on his route running. He's been beating man coverage. He can find the soft spots and zones. You got to get him involved.
And the Broncos will try to punch it in on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. Relentless, tough running gets it down to the 4.
There are 2 categories. You have 6
The big fellas line up in a goal line defense. Linebackers shuffling around, trying to keep the quarterback from getting a read. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. Nowhere to run on that one. He loses 4 on the carry.
It's looking like they're going to have to try to throw this one into the end zone here on 3rd down, David. Quarterback's got to be careful. Can't get greedy because you know these windows, they close fast.
Extremely tight windows. Find your big body guys that you know can win in contested situations here on 3rd down.
Wants to throw for it on 3rd and goal. He caught it. And he was thinking 6, but that D knocks him down at the 2. He just didn't have a chance to get loose and make his way to that first down marker.
And I think fans get upset sometimes, like run your route past the sticks so we get the first down. But nice job by the defense understanding where the sticks were and forcing the 4th down.
4th and goal from the 3, and the offense will stay out there and try to finish the deal. And he's loose, and he'll take it to the house. Touchdown, Broncos!
Entering play
pressure situation for the offense down there close on 4th and goal. So many different ways you can go about it. They just put it in the quarterback's hands. They let him figure it out. He shows off his athleticism, and he finds the end zone.
And the extra point was good to finish things off. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. Texas State has the football back, and they'll go on offense. They hope to be able to cash in on this drive, David, after having to punt it last time.
Yeah, and I think this offense needs to start it with the first play. You need to be successful and productive on that first play, and it gets you in less predictable situations.
No doubt, too. Don't you just feel like there's a little bit more sense of urgency on this drive? It just feels like they've got to be able to put some points up on the board.
It'll be a draw. They make the stop, and that's how the first quarter will end. We've come to the end of the quarter, and Western Michigan is on top. One period in the books, and let's take a look at the stats. Now to see if these guys can get back in the game in the second quarter.
Formation, special, full house, single, shot, wide slot, inside zone split. Keep choice. RPO red Y flat. Y letter. RPO red Y flat.
First down to start the drive after the break. Give to the running back. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3.
5WR.
You see all this movement in football now, all the stemming, the defensive line, they're sliding right before the snap, creating confusion for the offensive line. Then they're moving back and stunting. Really good job by the defense. Continue to move, continue to stunt, continue to get in the backfield and make this life hard.
Slant routes, they're good against man coverage, but they're good against zone coverage too. If that receiver can find the soft spot between the linebacker and the DB, he'll take that throw all day.
Looking downfield, it's for Cloud. And he got a hand in there, knocks it away, incomplete.
Defense did a great job. 30 short on the opponent's side of the field. They're expecting quick throw. Everybody, they dug their heel on the ground. They're able to break on the ball, force the incompletion.
Fourth down, and the punt team sends it the other way. Makes the catch, and now looking for just a little bit of daylight. That's a perfect example of not settling for a fair catch. Pick up whatever yardage you can and help out the offense. This drive will get started from the 37-yard line. From the gun, running back on the move. After the pickup of 9, it's 2nd and 1.
I know it's sexy to throw the football, but if you can pound it away and get these kind of gains, they will just add up, wear the defense down, get first downs, and ultimately get some points.
They'll give it to the back. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple.
They're trying to run the football. There's just nowhere to go for the ball carrier inside. He tried to bounce it to the outside. That linebacker way too fast. He met him there.
Formation. Concept. Cover 2. There are 10. Tempo 2 drop. Tempo 2.
Third and short from the 44, and we might know if they plan to go for it on 4th down by what they call here. They'll try to get it through the air. Wide open downfield. They'll finally drag him down, but not before he gets it to the 40, and it's a first down. The Broncos come to the line with a fresh set of downs. Got his man quickly. Slipping, sliding, dancing his way down to the 32.
Nice completion here to this wide receiver, and you're going to see this receiver line up in different spots all over the field all game long. The defense has got to keep their eye on where this guy is because they know he's a big part of this offense's success.
Gets it out fast. There to make the stop, but they use the back in the passing game and pick up the first down.
All right, defense. It ain't working. Right? They're stringing together several first downs here. We're going to need to change this up, find something we can disrupt the quarterback and mess up this offense a little bit.
Caught over the middle. It's Buckley.
Yeah, and you see running backs in today's football. They play wide receiver basically for you, but you got to find a guy that you can throw it to, and you know he's going to catch the ball consistently.
Pulls and throws off the RPO. Got enough space. Couldn't quite nudge it in. Not sure you could get much closer, but it'll be 1st and goal.
My goodness, this offense has got it rolling. They might put up a 50, but this defense, they don't have any answers right now. They're going to figure something out.
And the Broncos have it with a 1st and goal. Motion trying to get the defense to show its hand. Little touch pass to the receiver. And into the
Entering
end zone
play
he
call,
goes.
coach suggestions,
Touchdown,
there are
Western
6
Michigan.
categories.
Number 10 in the end zone.
And the extra point pushes the lead to 14. So the touchdown drive
Entering
goes
play
63
call,
yards.
special teams, you have 7 options, return left is selected.
Texas State, 0.
Looking for blockers. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Texas State gets the football back, and here comes the offense. This is when the pressure can ramp up a little bit on an offense, David, when they start feeling the heat to answer a score.
And I think being down 14, you can kind of feel that way. But, dude, if you put a good drive together, this is a 7-point game, so Palmer, no need to panic.
Entering
I was just
play
going to
call,
say, David, I mean, this thing can
shot,
flip
wide
quick.
slot,
You go
right,
down,
but
score, all of a
punch
sudden your
wide,
defense
5
gets a
double
stop, or
lock,
who knows,
trick
better
six,
yet, gets a
switch.
turnover. This game is entirely different.
That's the type of explosive play you love to start a drive with. First down from the 42. They'll throw it to the back on the screen. They make the stop, but a good pickup there
Entering
on first
play
down.
call, trick sage,
Love the execution there on the screen. The running back shows pass protect, last second turns around, so he's able to get the ball. The D linemen have already run past him. Now he can turn upfield for a big gain.
Quickly complete.
Entering
A
play
quick
call,
tackle made, but he's got plenty for the first down.
Jet
Good job
touches.
by the receiver there not to run into coverage, but to find a spot that the quarterback could throw him the ball.
Yeah, on those types of routes, Reese, they say if you're looking, you're booking. So if that's man coverage, the receiver's staring at the quarterback all the way across the field. That time, the receiver didn't give the quarterback his eyes, so they were on the same page. They both knew it was zone. They executed that perfectly.
Really good job by the defense, seeing it and going and getting it. Nice job understanding the touch pass that could happen. Those guys go in motion, man. I got to understand, safety's got to see that, start flying down, getting ready to play that. Nice job by the defense being ready for that play.
And he makes the catch inside the 20. And it is a chunk play, a huge gain on that one before the defense brings it to an end. Finally, this offense starting to show a little juice. They've got a 1st and 10. Back to throw, it's McLeod. And the pressure was too much. They get him at the 15. Quick tempo, no huddle offense. Second down, clock's running. He's looking to throw. Feeling some heat. And here comes the pressure, and there he goes down again.
And the defense has given up some plays, some passing yards on this drive. You want to stop that? Nice job rushing the quarterback, making him feel a little bit of pressure and getting him on the ground and now getting him behind the sticks.
Entering play call,
and he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. They'll use a timeout right before halftime. Maybe time for 1 or 2 more plays. They're hoping for a touchdown going by the boards, but they'll try to put up 3 before going to the locker room. From the right hash, and this distance makes that angle not quite so severe. It's good, and that was dead solid, perfect.
Entering play call.
And 3 more on the board, and this kicker is starting to get a reputation, starting off the season. Hasn't missed yet. Nice to have a guy that you can really, really depend on.
And they desperately wanted to attempt the return, but decided not to. Instead, they'll take the touchback. And holding on to the lead, the offense will simply take a knee, and that's how we will wrap up the first half. As expected, they're content to run out the clock and go into halftime.
Man blitz. There are 10 categories. You have 89 options.
That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update.
Guys, it is hard to beat San Marcos when that town is buzzing as it is today. And I get it. A lot of coaches will say the difference between winning and losing comes down to stopping big plays and getting big plays. But if you ask me, it's more about how good you are on 3rd down and how efficient you are in keeping drives alive. Those 2 stats can help you break the will of even the best defenses and help you come out on top. And with that, let's send it back to the fellas inside Bobcat Stadium.
Thanks for that breakdown, Kevin. He'll bring it out. It's Martin. I know he thinks he can house every return, but sometimes you just have to take a knee as he stops at the 14. Western Michigan offense ready to go back to work. They had this lead to start the third quarter because of the passing game. Didn't get a lot done on the ground.
They did, but the quarterback is in a rhythm. That was obvious in the first half. And so this first drive, you want to continue that. You want to see good decision-making. You want to see him playing on time. And as always, delivering the football.
I mean, I don't know how I don't give him the football. It's the reason I built the lead. He's the guy that I can trust. This offense is built around him, so I expect more of the same here in the second half.
Looking to throw, it's Wolf. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. Flying down the left side. Touchdown, Western Michigan. And once he found some daylight, it was time to make a house call. They've extended the lead and taken control here in Week 9.
And this offense is clicking. Another touchdown. Didn't have to go far for this drive, but this offense is doing what they want, how they want, when they want.
About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. And he takes this from inside the 5. And the return man has no place to run, no place to hide, and a place to be tackled. Texas State has the football back, and they'll go on offense. It's always great to get points on a drive, but it would behoove them to try to get a touchdown this time around, Palmer.
They may have to get out of their comfort zone here, too, David, a little bit. Just start being more aggressive and take some chances, but that's what's going to have to happen for them to win this game.
Yeah, and when you're losing, obviously everything gets hyped. Everything becomes more critical. This drive is crucial because you've got to cut into this deficit and put some points out.
And the Bobcats are in the hurry-up.
You got to wonder if that's a moral victory for this offensive line because they have not been running the ball well at all game long. But on that short yardage situation, they finally pick it up, and maybe that's going to be the catalyst for them to get this thing going and spark the run game.
They'll mark him down at the 37. It's a 10-yard gain. The Bobcats with the first and 10. They'll run it from the gun. Nice, solid form tackle from this sophomore.
That's a really good job by the defense, wrapping them up, getting them on the ground, take away that run game, make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on second down. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. And the defense makes the stop after a minimal gain.
Spread Y slot WK. There are 20 categories.
Guys, this offense is already reeling down multiple possessions.
Selected.
Really need to cash in on this drive. To the air, it's McLeod. Getting some heat. And the incomplete pass will bring up fourth down.
Play call, coach
and you didn't have a lot of panic in the first half. Man, you're starting to get now in the second half, and this offense has really struggled, underperformed. You know you're a better team, but this offense hasn't shown it. This team hasn't shown it. It's the third quarter. They got to get it going now.
Fourth down, and the punt team sends it the other way. Here's the fair catch, and he'll make it close to the 20-yard line.
Cover 2, error 10, concept.
Guys, we're about to get another look at this Western Michigan offense.
Cover 2 is select. Give cushion.
Out of the gun, the inside handoff, looking for a crease. Defense there to stop him after a gain of 1 to the 22.
Cover 4 pawns. Cover 4 pawns.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. He's looking to throw. Gets open down the middle. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with that one, and they've got enough for the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Looking to move it through the air. Grabbed in the backfield. It's Buckley. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. They'll run it from the gun. Oh, the speed, the acceleration, the elusiveness, and he's down to the 43.
You want to talk about making it easy for an offensive coordinator. You pick up a bunch of yards on first down, make that second down really manageable. That's a great job by the offense.
Off play action. Fires to the right. He's got an open man. He's all the way down to the 27-yard line, and they are threatening.
I'll tell you what, that's great execution between the QB and receiver. They look like they could execute that throw in their sleep. Quarterback took his steps, threw it on time. Great route by the receiver. Nice job securing the catch.
Finds his big tight end.
I'll tell you, I love the play call on first down here. You're just trying to find an easy completion, and the shortest throw on the field for the quarterback is finding your biggest target, and that's the tight end. Nice job.
Looking for a man. It's Wolf. Throwing right. Touchdown Broncos! And the route is on.
Entering play call. Coach suggestions. There are 6 categories.
Nobody decides to cover him. My man makes the play. Shows off the hands first. Got to make the catch first. Does the rest. Walks in the end zone for the touchdown.
We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Fellas, it's a final now in one of the more intriguing games of the week, that notable top 25 clash. Syracuse is going to enjoy the trip back to Central New York after a rock-solid performance. And you take care of business on the road, and you stack wins there inside the Dome, and suddenly it's quite the resume. Really unexpected outcome in this ranked-on-ranked matchup. The type of loss, guys, that'll get the attention of even a good football team.
Yeah, how about that? Sounds as if they had a good ball game there, Kevin. He lobs one high down the left side. He's got it downfield for a huge gain. And they were looking for a chunk play, and they got it. The explosive picks up more than 30.
Entering play call. Trio. You have 2 options. Shot from 8. Shotgun. Wide slot right WK. There are 20
they don't seem interested in inching the ball down the field. That big play sets him up. 1st and 10 from the 36. Quarterback making adjustments with his receivers. He'll come out throwing on first down. Using the quick game. They make the stop after the catch. Still some work to do to pick up that first down.
Listen, running backs are not just running backs anymore. You're going to be a wide receiver in today's football. And a great job sneaking out of the backfield, getting them the football, letting them get some positive yards.
Brought down at the 25 after a 5-yard gain. It'll be a first down.
I love when players understand situations and they understand where the first down marker is and they understand where I got to get to. A lot of people you'll see run north-south and try to bounce out wide and make big plays.
Entering play call.
Making big plays. It comes about getting that first down and make sure I get an extra set of downs instead of trying to make those big touchdown runs.
Offense gets set for second down. We've come to the end of the quarter, and Western Michigan is on top. And as we switch ends of the field, let's take a quick look at the national rankings. As we start the fourth quarter, it'll take a pretty sizable comeback to win this one. Second down now as they're ready to go back to work. Leaves it with the back. They make the stop, but you can't give up 4 yards a chunk on the ground down in this area of the field. It's at the 18. They'll stick to the ground looking for the marker. And the Bobcats get enough for the first down. No huddle here for the offense. Running back searching for a hole. Going to work in the red zone. They can't pick up the first down without getting it into the end zone. The give to the tailback. And he's a real nowhere man tackled in this no-gain land.
There are 8 categories. You have 15 options. Empty and all girl is selected.
Missile. He was on radar lock. He found the football and flew down with some bad intentions.
Entering play call.
Down in the fourth quarter, it's too late for empty possessions. They'll go for it on fourth down.
Verticals. Short cross.
Quarterback checking off.
Short cross.
On fourth down, they'll throw for it. Touchdown, Bobcats. And they made it to the house where they found that 6 points waiting on them.
Coach suggestions.
Ready to try the point after.
You have 15
Timing
options
and
that
better
have to select.
execution, that is just what a quarterback and wide receiver need.
And it's timing, it's route running,
Entering
right? You got to be
play
precise. You got to know
special
exactly
teams. You have
what
5
yard you're running to.
options.
The
Pick
quarterback
off
receiver
selected.
on the same page. That's why you get the touchdown.
And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25.
Cover 4. Cover 2.
Western Michigan has it back as they send the offense onto the field. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they've wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect it.
You can tell they were paying attention in practice this week in the film room because they have gone out, everybody right now on the same page.
And a great job by the linebacker. You could tell starting to crowd the line of scrimmage, get up there in the line of scrimmage, see it, diagnose it, get in the backfield, get the running back on the ground for the tackle for the loss.
Finds his way ahead for 3 out to the 27-yard line.
Categories. You have 40 options. Cover 4.
Third down conversions, always a huge stat, and they've got a 3rd and long from the 27. Looking to throw, it's Wolf. The throw. Got his man. They convert on 3rd down as he gets it to the 46-yard line.
It really just feels like they are trying to make a statement to everybody in college football. They've got a lead, they've got it late, and they are still putting it on this defense. They are still letting it fly. They're airing it out, trying to light up the score.
And what you see late in games, man, those teams that can really run the football and run that clock when they got a lead, you really win a lot more football games. So I think you look for them to be physical down the stretch of this game, try to continue to do this on the ground, continue to eat that clock.
The play action fake. Looking for a huge play. Touchdown, Western Michigan. And the stomping has commenced. They extend this lead, and it looks as if they are going to make it 2 wins in a row.
Salt into wound, right? Late in the 4th quarter, you can run the football, run this game out. No, sir. I'm going to continue to pad my stats, find my receiver out wide, and give me another touchdown.
Here's a return from the end zone. And they'll get him on the ground as the offense comes out to start the next drive. Opening play of this drive comes to the 13-yard line. Quarterback reacting to what the D is showing. He's right on target. He's brought down solid. Pick up a little bit short of the 1st down. Completion a little short of the 6. It's 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Unloads to the wideout. And that's going to be incomplete. A lot of contact on the play, but no flags. It'll be 3rd down. That last incomplete pass has him staring at a 3rd and 3. Wants to throw. It's McLeod. Into double coverage, and he picked it off. He was looking for room to return that, but he'll just hand it to the offense. They'll take over at the 18.
And as a defensive lineman late in the game, man, when you know it's past, you're pinning your ears back, trying to get to the quarterback. And DBs are trying to do this. Add them stats, get the INT. Nice job by this D.
They're going to throw it to start the drive. It's on target and complete. Touchdown, Broncos! And the punishment has been extended. They push out that lead a bit and draw much closer to a win here in Week 9.
Man, this has been a complete performance. The defense has been lights out, and the offense, obviously, just continues to pour it on. This is what you call having a great day. Putting it all together, offense, defense, complementary football.
On the run from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Texas State gets the football back, and here comes the offense. Boy, they hope this next drive is more productive after throwing a pick last time, Jesse.
Yeah, and the coaches did a good job on the sideline there, just talking to the young quarterback and making sure he's able to turn the page, calm him down, to go out and refocus this drive.
Yeah, and some people do that better than others, but you got to show some trust in him. Maybe get the ground game going, help around him a little bit with this system.
Quick strike complete. And he's able to bounce off one tackle, but still not a whole lot of running room.
You just get the feeling this defense is going to make it hard on them, right? They've got the lead, it's late, and they're going to try to tackle everybody inbounds. Offense is going to have to really work for this and be smart. You got to attack the sidelines. You got to throw first downs. You got to keep this thing moving vertically down the field.
And on that 3rd and short, I don't think he was unhappy to see that zone.
Nope, it's a great job by the offense. Hey, see where the holes in the zone are, sit down. You only need a little bit of yards on this 3rd down. Get the conversion, move the sticks.
Switch.
The Bobcats will snap it on 1st and 10. The receivers telling the quarterback what they see. Dropping back, it's McLeod. Fires a bullet, now it's picked off. Got room on the return. The 20, 10. And with the interception, he'll take it all the way back.
Entering play call, coach
Michigan.
suggestions. There are 6 categories.
You didn't think it could get any worse, right? You thought this game's over as it is anyways. Offense still throwing the football, still trying to make plays, and the defense just continues to pour it on, gets the pick, makes its way all the way to the end zone.
They're about to kick it away, and the defense probably can't wait to get back out there after the pick 6. He'll start the return inside his 5.
Entering play call.
And the return man is stopped, and that'll leave it up to the offense on the next drive. Okay, so here comes the offense returning to the field. At this point, it really hasn't been your best day. Just try to find something to build on here. And the heat gets there. And they get him down at the 14-yard line.
And man, is that just indictment of the day. Your quarterback getting drilled late in the football game. This offense has sputtered. They haven't found any kind of good rhythm. They haven't done things that really gives your coach confidence and makes you want to believe in them. This offense has a lot of work to do before their next football game. And this defense is more than happy with the offense running the football. They've done a great job today. I mean, they've really made this offense work so hard, earn everything they've gotten, and that's why this lead is ballooned like it has.
He took a hit as he threw it and couldn't deliver the football. It's incomplete and 4th down's coming.
And this is just one of those days, man, where everything has gone wrong, right? Like they just haven't been in a rhythm. They haven't got it going and never built the momentum. This is one of those days that you learn from, you try to grow from. A lot of things that we're going to show in the film room that people aren't going to like, but hopefully you can learn from it and do better next time.
It's incomplete, and the defense makes a stop and gets the football back. A great spot to start this drive for the offense. Looking for room, it's Buckley. It's a fumble. And the defense jumps on him. They get that turnover.
Offensive players, when they got the ball in their hand, they're trying to make plays, right? Trying to make you miss. There's nothing better than closing that gap and sticking that head right in that guy's chest and causing a fumble.
Texas State has the football back, and they'll go on offense. This has been an old-fashioned fanny paddling, David. I mean, they've just got taken behind the woodshed.
There's nothing to say. This has been an absolute beatdown. Dominated from the start, Jesse, to almost the finish now. They have done nothing right.
Everyone's going to have a real hard look at themselves, I think, this week after watching the film and practice. And they've just got to take accountability. They have to understand, man for man in this offense, they've got to do a better job next time they're on the field.
The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. Shoots it to the left. And his throw is incomplete.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast. They were physical. They dominated this football game today.
He wants a big play here late. What a spectacular grab there as they try to finish this game with a little something to feel good about. Timeout called by the offense. Clock stopped with 21 seconds left.
Entering play call. Joystick drag.
They don't seem interested in inching the ball down the field. That big play sets them up. 1st and 10 from the 36. He's going to pass. Oh, he loves to fire downfield. And it slips through his fingers. Incomplete. That would have been a huge gain if he could have squeezed it.
Well, they take a shot down the field. It's another incompletion. It's really been that kind of story. This defense has made this guy earn it every single play. Really small windows to throw into. 1 touchdown pass. That's a little bit surprising. You thought maybe they'd have more in this game.
Looking for a man. It's McLeod. Going back to the well. Another deep ball. And it goes through his hands. Oh, he had an explosive play right there for the taking, but couldn't reel it in. They were really starting to put a drive together. After a couple of incompletions, now they need a big play on 3rd and 10. From the gun, wants to pass. He can't find his man, and the clock stops with 6 seconds left.
This offensive line is not going to like watching the film back tomorrow when they get the opportunity, because they have gotten beat time and time again up front, especially in passing situations. All of the hits, all of the sacks this quarterback has taken is the biggest reason why they're going to lose this game.
And it's knocked away, and they don't convert on 4th down. And here we go, final play of the game right here. And on 4th down, they'll take a knee, but this one's just about over. Well, some might think this head coach has a tough locker room speech after this one. I would suggest that he starts with, "That's just bad."
Bad. Or, as Reese Davis would say, ungood. Just very ungood performance. Flush this one down the toilet. Move on. It's not your best day. You lost in ugly fashion, to be honest, but better days ahead.
And I think a lot of this has to come on the shoulders of the players. They need to be able to realize they just didn't do enough. So they've got to turn the page. They've got to go back to work, have a great week of practice, and put out a better effort next week.
That's going to do it for us from here. For Jesse Palmer, Dave Pollack, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.